Welcome back to myRE360TV. Of course, I'm your host, Adonis Lockett. And as always, I got my trusty co-host, Mr. My drive to work bang up car is flyer than your Friday night date car, Mr. Darion Coleman.
What's up, what's up?
So tonight, our guest is a true rock star. 22 years in the game, even though she looks like she's 22 years old. She has been in the commercial real estate development. She's been in residential real estate development, commercial lending, residential lending, and she is actually a pillar in the participation, for the redevelopment of Tulsa's Black Wall Street. Teddi Payton, rock star amongst rock stars. So tonight, buckle up. We got a great show. You know what? Like, I would expect nothing less from you. Yeah, I would, like, wasn't that hardcore, dude? So,
I did, but I'm gonna let the show keep going.
I was picking up what she was putting down.
Appreciate it.
So, all right. So, as mentioned, Teddi, you, like I said, just the fact that you're 22 years in the game and you don't look like you've even broke 30. I need to just help me understand like your background, because when I read your resume, I really expected, big mama, you know what I mean, 40, 50 years old, you come in looking like you just graduated college. Like, what am I missing? Like, give us your background.
So, to your point, my dad's a real estate broker, and because he's a broker, it was mandated that I got my real estate license very early. So I've been in real estate all my life, technically, right? So I have had my real estate license since before college. Okay. And even still in college, it was about maintaining. It was about, hey, who do you know?
So without carbon dating you, let's say...
it's okay.
Let me ask you this.
I'm 40.
She embracing it.
Okay.
Like,
She don't look it.
Because I got barked on.
You can do that.
Right.
You can do that.
I got barked on the last time. I was like, well, how old are you?
It's okay.
Bro?
We ain't gonna say no names.
Right. So you're 40, looking like you're 25. All right.
I appreciate it.
But you 22 years in the game.
22 years. So I had my license since I was 18. For those of you who cannot do the math.
Okay. All right. Because I know you struggled over there.
I was. Now,
Produce.
I'm
no
smart.
shadometer?
I'm smart.
So, you see what I'm saying? Like, he gives me no love.
My bad.
No love. So, Pops was like, yo, you're going to get into the game. Now,
absolutely.
Tell me the rationale behind that. Because I'm sure at some point you had a conversation with him.
Growing up, I was the only girl.
Okay.
Right?
Of how many?
It's 3 of us total. So I have an older brother. I have a younger brother. I'm the middle. Okay. Only girl. So growing up, it was, you need to understand, you need to know. And I liked real estate.
Okay.
And so, growing up with Dad, having to go to open houses or looking at different stuff, I liked it. I was like, oh, okay. And you never know, for people who have kids, you never know what your kids pick up. So He never said, hey, this is what you're going to do. I was just there. So,
He said it. He said it.
He never said it out loud.
Yeah. He huddled with the, like, bros, listen, come here, fellas. Listen, Teddi getting into real estate. Listen, you just give a little nudge, right? So then, but like I said, you've been in commercial, residential, you're in development, you're in lending. Like, tell me about that whole cycle.
So I actually started with the traditional agency, right? So got my license when I was 18. I went to FAMU. Thought I wanted to go into medicine. Thought I wanted to Rattlers.
Shout out to you.
So thought I wanted to be in medicine. Thought I was going to save the world, all that. Learn some of the business behind it. Got jaded. Was like, don't really think this is for me. Call home. Dad's like, I don't care what you do. Just graduate.
Okay, I like Pops.
Check that box. Check that box.
Right.
So came back.
So what was your degree in?
So I did food science, and I was in pharmacy as well. So chemistry, sciences, that was me.
She was cooking shit up.
So, now it's come full circle. They want people to cook stuff up, pharmacies.
They do?
Well, because you have pharmacists.
Like, we do not want to know about your street affairs.
But it's legal. But it's legal.
Listen, I got contracts with the government, goddamn.
but it's legal.
All right,
So,
all right.
you know, because everybody wants their brownies.
Okay. Touche.
Yes.
All right, so you got your degree in cooking that white, but then how did you get back into real estate?
Did you see how he just
slid right on it?
Right in there.
But so how'd you end up? So you got that, and then
Right.
but you ended up back in real estate. How?
I ended up back in real estate. So when I graduated, I came back home, and it was hey, you like real estate? Why don't you consider the lending aspect? So I got into mortgages.
Okay.
Mortgages.
Mortgages what? Like what does that
mortgage
mean?
lending. So basically, for people who wanted to buy a house, how do you get your money to buy a house? Unless you had cash, you had to go to a bank lender. So I went into mortgages.
Okay.
Kind of got my bearings, and I liked it. I liked it because one of the things that I found about real estate is it's no transaction is ever alike.
Facts.
That is so true.
No I don't care.
So
On
true.
paper,
How many you do
on
is
paper,
facts.
you can line everything up. You can have credit score. You can have money. You can have, and then it's this one thing that just
Yep.
changes
Changes
the
it.
whole dynamic.
But then,
and no transactions alike.
But then even the personality, so even if everything on paper was identical,
Yep.
the personalities make each transaction so different.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
And so what I found was in certain instances you had to really like know how to not necessarily present, but put stuff together.
Okay.
And so I began to structure loans as opposed to just like, oh, okay, this cookie cutter fits in this box.
Mm-hmm.
This is where we are. So I began to structure. I read the guidelines. I'm sorry, you have to read, but I read the guidelines to see how to put stuff together. And as a result, I became really good at structuring loans.
Okay. Okay.
So
Nice.
That springboard from the residential side, I grew with my clients into commercial.
Got it. So natural progression.
Natural progression.
So with the go
I'm
ahead.
sorry. I wonder what was the timeline on that progression? Did it take you 2 years, 5 years? Because I'm sure somebody's watching is probably interested.
So when I started, it was probably about a 2-year progression. So I got really good at the structuring. I got really good at what do lenders look at, how do you underwrite, and I cared, right? Mm-hmm. But I grew with my client, meaning that some people, you just want to start here. But because of me coming back home, my dad was a broker. That was an older demographic, so I grew with them. They were buying homes, or people he knew were buying homes, and then they also had businesses. And some of them were like, hey, you did a good job here on the residential side. Can you do this commercial loan for me? Because I have a business. And I was like, okay.
Right.
And that same residential loan, when you start small commercial, because all commercial isn't, like your $20, $40 million, $100 million transaction. You have like that $500,000 transaction that is like, where do you go to get it done?
Right.
And so that became a sweet spot. So it was the smaller up to $5 million commercial transactions that I started structuring, and it led to bigger and better things.
So natural progression.
Natural progression.
What is that?
Is that the phrase of the night?
That's the theme. That's the theme for tonight.
Come on, we back at it, y'all. Natural progression is
right.
the phrase of the night.
So with that said, I think right now is the perfect time to pause, because it sounds like Teddy is about to just start dropping like mountains of diamonds. So we're gonna go.
The gems.
So we're gonna go to our whiskey wisdom with Lauren.
Hey everybody, it's Lauren here at this week's Whiskey Wisdom. I'm on location this week, so I'm not at the bar. Check me out, just picking up some tile here for one of my projects. And so I'm gonna make that this week's Whiskey Wisdom. It's always a good idea to place your orders online. Make sure you have vendor accounts set up with the different companies that you buy materials from frequently. They give you points, they save your orders. You don't have to track down receipts. If your contractor needs, another box or two of a tile selection, you don't have to look far to pick it up. Just go online, and in a few clicks, you just drive up, call them, give them your order number, and then they put it in the trunk. So great time saver. Like I say, great way to get points, great way to just keep track of your different projects and materials, because sometimes if you like what you put in one house, you may want to buy it again for another house, and sorting through emails and all that, it's troublesome. So that's my advice this week. No drinks because I'm driving, but have fun, and see you guys soon. Bye.
You can always get some solid advice from Lauren with the Whiskey Wisdom. She cute too. I like my speed of lady.
Yeah, y'all are kind of married, so.
I would hope so. I would hope so.
I don't know if I got good taste or she got good taste. Listen, it is what it is.
I would hope that's the
You
equal
I hate
opportunity.
to do. You know what? I was on my way to complimenting how
You
clean
was.
your beard was, but then you started hating.
I mean, come on, you come here. Fact is fact. It's clean, right?
It is clean.
As you were saying,
but
go ahead.
The strips that you started hating, I couldn't even give you the compliment.
Is the
anymore.
other word of the night dusty?
Like,
Who dusty? It ain't me.
Because I ain't gonna front. I'm clean too.
Is
so.
it me?
Point of clarification,
So,
please.
listen, just so y'all know, like our producer, he just hates the fact that we are living our best life.
Yes, he
and he
does.
just throws shade in the background. So if there's anyone who should be on the shader meter, our producer just won't let us be great. Am I bugging, Darion?
You telling the whole truth and nothing but.
So in fact, but the natural progression. So one thing I want to pause before we get back to you is that the one thing I need everyone who's watching this show to know is that, it is okay to not start at the top. Everyone starts from square one, day one. Instagram, Facebook, and social media will have you thinking that if you're not at the top, then you're losing.
Come on.
Let me tell you,
Not
there's
that
nothing
easy.
further from the
Come on.
truth.
That's right.
And the people who start from square one and work their way to the top know those of you who are faking the funk, claiming to be at the top, and you're
right.
still on square one. So my advice for the night is be okay starting. Be okay being a beginner, and be okay not knowing, because those who are at the top, when you present yourself as the one who's made it and don't know what you're talking about, they may shake your hand, they may smile and congratulate you, but they'll walk away saying, this person does not know what they're talking about. This is not someone I'm going to do business with. Be okay starting your journey. Don't start at the top. Natural progression. Work your way there like the rest of the world. Right?
Adonis?
That is a good
Boy,
one.
you preaching tonight. I'm going to see how I can give you a compliment even though you just kind of shaded me.
I just said that your beard was clutch.
Y'all heard that.
I said your beard was clutch, but you were hating. So yeah, I'm saying.
No, but you are dropping gems. It is okay to naturally
But you know what? Our
progress.
producer didn't throw the gym thing.
He know he did. I
It
saw
was
it. I
all
saw
gems.
it.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah, I saw it. He
All right,
had
my
you right.
apologies.
It was,
He had
it
you
was
right.
raining. It was raining. It was
He
raining.
had you
All
right.
right, fair enough.
So
All
I
right.
need to co-sign for you though. That was one of the first things that my dad taught me.
Wow.
See,
That
I
was
like
one of the
pops.
first
on it.
things
I like
that he
pops.
taught me. And he said, and I quote, if you learn it right the first time, you don't have to go and unteach yourself bad habits.
Right.
And so in that, when you learn how to do and you are a student of the game, whatever your game is, you have a foundation. Anybody who knows when you're doing construction, the stronger your foundation, the higher up you can go.
See,
I
that's
love it.
solid. I like
That's
pops.
I love it.
Pops still
that's-
around?
He, of course.
Bring him on the show.
Right?
course.
That would be
Yo,
actually
Pops,
really good.
that-
Pops, you're welcome anytime, bro. Like whenever you want to
Ted.
come on, Teddy.
Teddy and Ted.
Oh, his name is Ted.
I told
Oh
you.
my!
I
yeah, we
told
gotta
you.
have him.
Teddy
Mr.
and
Dundee.
I want to do Pops and I want
Right.
to do Ted and Teddy. You know.
Mr. Ted, you trying to get flued out? Let us know. You trying to get flued out? Let us know.
Wait. Do not get flued out, Dad.
That's
I don't
it,
know
that's
what
it.
flued
Is
out
it-
is.
No. But you know what? Like,
But
listen.
we can
like
fly,
Ted,
but don't get flued.
if you flew it out, then you're flying spirit. Like we will do better.
Wait,
We will- we'll
we
do
don't
better.
we
We
don't
get your little
we don't do
Southwest, a little
Airbuses.
razzle
Right,
dazzle.
but in fairness, Spirit, if you want to sponsor the show, feel free
We-
to
we
get at
will
me.
definitely.
I have no problem putting you up there. I won't advocate for you, but feel free to sponsor the show.
Thank you.
we will backpack it
Before we fly Spirit.
before we flew
Flew
out.
it out.
Right.
Flew out.
So I got a question. So
Yeah.
you talked about how like you almost have a natural control over yourself and not getting out there
Correct.
too far. So what measures did you put in place so that you studied before you really jumped out there and made some terrible mistakes?
Or
What'd
did
you do?
someone check you and you were like,
Yeah.
all right.
So mentorship. One of the things that we don't do and we don't have, generally speaking, is mentorship. And I'm going to speak to us as a culture. You know,
Come on.
We try to do stuff and act like, oh, this is the hottest thing ever. Pump your brakes just a little bit. Get your checklist because somebody's been here before.
Right.
And one of the things that it basically guided me and helped me tremendously is I had a mentor to say, no, before I even let you put something into this computer, this is what you need to know. This is how you go through a loan application. You don't just ask the question. You have a conversation. You interview your person. The more information you have, even though you may not need it all, the better off you'll be.
Right.
I'd rather have it and not need it than
need it
and
and
not
not
have
Oh,
it.
come on.
So
You didn't even know the saying, so.
I did.
But you didn't say it with us, though.
Because it was y'all moment. That wasn't my moment. See, I don't steal moments how others do, you know. Little shade.
That was the first time we went immediately from a drop in gems straight to a shade.
I think we've had a.
But do you have
TV
like
first.
do you have like a shade of a gem of shade? Does that
Like
does
your
that happen?
Shady Jams.
A shaded gem?
We
I
might
don't
need to
know.
make
Like, I
that.
don't
We
know.
might need to make that.
Look,
So-
it's a new, look, everything that comes up on this show we own in perpetuity. So
It's okay.
At least recorded.
you know, we gotta say that. We gotta say that on camera.
You're on a recorded call. Yo, so let me ask you this.
Right.
Because of, I know you have a wealth of knowledge, have you ever thought about creating a course and putting on myRE360?
But of course.
You know what's funny? I'm gonna answer for her. We were actually talking right before we started airing that she needs to be on 360 as an educator, teaching people not the game that she's telling us now, but the game she's about to jump into right now.
Wow. Okay. And what is that? Do you mind sharing with us?
So my experience has shown me, especially from the real estate investment world, taxes, accounting, hot mess.
Let's get
So
into that.
you have to excuse Darian.
Hot mess.
About 5 or 6 times during the show, Darian smells a warm apple pie and just
And I go,
so,
Can you taste it?
so he'll you to death. So.
But that means that you talking good to
Yeah.
me. You know.
So it's
I
a
mean,
lot of
I'll make you earn your
all right. Respect.
Right, Lily. Yeah, like two or three a show out of me.
Yeah.
Darian will 10 and 20 you up, so let's not.
So don't get.
I don't want it to be
That's a
watered
false,
down.
it's a false positive over here. Is what I'm hearing.
False positive.
It's like don't take that. That's not a real one.
Right.
This is
Like,
okay.
I mean, it was okay.
He's like, yeah.
the
I heard
real-
this before.
Right.
got
She's
it.
about to drop the ums. I mean.
Yeah.
Got it.
So yeah, what is it that you're getting into?
So what I mean by that is, for many investors, what you realize, wholesalers, you've just made a lot of money because you have taxable events, meaning you just sold a property or you just got this, assignment contract, and now you got this 60,000, 70,000, 200,000, whatever the number is.
I like those numbers. Go ahead.
Up until Uncle Sam's like, excuse me.
At the end of the year.
Then we got. I didn't make that.
So say, bro.
I made
Heard that you
$10,000.
bought out on a $250 sale.
I made $5,000 and bought McDonald's.
No. It's not even that. I made a -10.
Hold on, bro.
Wait a minute.
According to this HUD, you cast out $350. So
But not
Make
even
it make
like
sense.
before you even get to the
Make it make
HUD.
sense.
Before you even get to the HUD, according to this car.
right, bro.
According to this.
Right, Darian missed to pull up in the Range Rover because you made $250,000 on your last sale, but your taxes said negative $10,000.
They sure did.
So
IRS, if you're listening,
Don't.
they sure did. Allegedly.
Allegedly.
But go ahead.
Allegedly.
your alleged Range Rover.
Yeah.
Right.
That's outside.
So
Allegedly.
All right. So Teddy, Uncle Sam's like, bro, you
Yeah.
balling out.
Uncle Sam clearly sees it because the HUD ones are verified.
Correct.
You're going to receive a 1099. You're
Title
going
be
to receive.
snitching too. You know how many 1099s I got from Title? Like, here's
Really?
all of the dough. Oh,
They-
yeah.
no,
when you sell.
Now that I didn't know.
So Title would be like, so, hey, Adonis, you balled out last year. Here's the 1099. Oh, you want to change the title company? We know them too. Here's their 1099.
Oh, wow.
And so the title company would 1099 me to death. And so I'd have to write off like $500,000
Yeah.
just to not have to owe $500,000 in taxes.
Allegedly.
But then again, I have $500,000 of real expenses, IRS.
Right.
Because I know you listening.
Why? Because it was
IRS, I had 500 because I know you listening here too. 500,000 of real expenses.
it was a natural progression of
of debt and expenses. Correct.
So in that, people don't necessarily, you just see the, oh man, like I'm now in this totally different tax bracket. You're in a totally different, and you're playing at a whole new game. And it's how do you play the game? Now, a lot of us don't like Trump, but you like his tax pay, but you like his tax plan.
Let's be real.
But no, but you like, a lot of you don't know, but you like the tax plan.
Yeah.
You like the tax plan.
So let's moving on. How do we get to what? So
If
we're just gonna
if I
glaze
can,
over that.
and if I can show you how to pay zero and it's legitimate, are you gonna say no?
If I
No. You can help me in 2020.
if I have to sell my soul to do it, then I'd rather keep my soul in.
But nobody ever said anything about selling your soul.
So anywho, so my question then is,
But let's
so you know how to navigate if Uncle Sam is like, bro, you sold for $250, I need all of that cake. You have a way of offsetting me having to shut down the bakery to pay Uncle Sam, is what you're telling me.
correct.
Okay. What does that look like? And I'm okay if you drop granular details.
So in a grander scheme, especially for your investors, if you're flipping and you're basically looking at what this looks like, for every 2, 3 that you flip, hold one.
Okay.
Nobody says
That's really
that,
good.
nobody
Wait, hold
nobody
on.
says why.
Say that again. Talk
I'm
to
about to say
him.
that was really good.
Talk to him.
We gotta
Let the people
rewind
Talk
it.
to him.
So for every 2 to 3 that you flipped, keep one. The reason why you want to keep one is because when you're looking at real estate, they say it is the tax shelter. What does that really mean? What are we sheltering?
Yeah.
Well, the write-off looks different. We know we have assets. We know we have liabilities.
Right.
And I say all real estate is a liability unless you're making money with it.
Okay.
Number one.
Touche.
So even if you have an investment property, if it's costing you money, that's not an asset. That's a liability because
Right,
it's costing
right.
you, right? Unless you've structured it such that it's offsetting some type of taxable event
Okay.
or tax liability. So
Are you a CPA?
I am not a CPA.
Are you an accountant?
I am not an accountant.
So then how are you so versed about taxes, real estate taxes, if you're neither one of those things?
So from where I sit, I've been in this game for 22 years.
Okay.
When I was doing loans, the number one thing that I saw for people who are self-employed, we write everything off,
Facts.
right?
Yeah.
So from a lending stance, the only thing that you can start adding back are certain things that are paper losses. Depreciation. What can I depreciate? Real estate,
Right?
Right.
a car, right?
Right.
So
Your
these
range.
things.
Yeah.
I wanted to.
I'm about to
that was-
say-
that was the head nod.
Hey,
That's all.
look, I peeped that and I was
So wait,
Right off
What did you say?
payments.
Right off. The range. Got it.
And it's all in how it's done, right?
Right.
And so certain things you can accelerate depreciation, you can just write it off over time. And I learned this by looking at the commercial world, right? So everybody knows the 2007 real estate boom. The thing was
It's more
called
like 2008, but
2007 was the onset. 2008 is what we saw.
it bottomed out.
We'll take
Yeah,
that. We'll
hold
take
on,
that.
you know.
We'll take it. So
Because you were
basi-
still doing your thing in 2007. Like, 2008, 9 is when they all imploded.
that's when you really saw the implosion.
Bro,
There you go.
got
I'm with
real,
you.
real.
I'm like when you were at the table and was like, actually, we're going to take this back. We're not even.
Like-
We're not going to fund that loan. Like
It
it was approved.
They got the
but
closing
let's
table
take
like,
that back.
hello? Wait, I'm sorry, what?
Excuse me.
Like, we're gonna run that back.
I'll call you back. Teddy, let me go ahead and grab that pen.
We'll get back
Get
with
our
you.
papers.
Actually, we're not
Go ahead and
taking
grab
that
the.
money.
Go ahead and grab that.
So
grab the
what you saw was like this thing. So the arm, what they call the arm, where it's like you have this.
What does ARM mean?
And so we have this 5-year, 7-year thing where you have a fixed rate.
Well, what does it mean, ARM? The lending term for ARM. Adjustable rate mortgage, right?
Yeah.
All right. So we're not talking about these bad boys. I'm talking about,
Okay.
Yo, let me live. Wasn't my best one, but let me live.
So you do have the adjustable rate mortgages. The ARM came from the commercial. It came from the commercial lending world.
Sure.
And it was put into the residential world.
Wait, was it really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. It was commercial lending first.
I'm not gonna lie. I learned a lot from our guests. That's probably one of the more solid things. I didn't know that adjustable rate mortgages, it matriculated from commercial to residential.
Because think about any commercial loan
Right.
that
30-year
it
and
always
10-year.
balloon.
Correct.
And so that product was something where you may have a 5-year, 10-year, whatever, and you have a
Right.
balloon payment.
Right.
So that product was commercial, and it came into the residential market. It was for your more
Find out she's a
sophisticated.
fucking lending almanac. Like,
But no,
It
so-
sounds like it.
But it was,
right.
But so it makes sense, right? So in that era of the 2000s, you had this explosion of ARMs, interest only, all of that's
Right,
commercial.
right.
Because think about commercial lending, and for those of you who don't know, when you have these huge mortgages, you're doing interest only.
Right.
And you're doing interest only over this time frame, because in
Okay.
commercial, we're going to let it stabilize, which means you have basically got everybody in place. You're making what you're supposed to be making. And then what do? Refinance or sell it off before it balloons. So
Okay.
that's basically how it came into play. So you had this product came from commercial realm into residential.
So now, how does that circle back into what you do or the service that you offer? Because you're saying that for what you do, you can help someone who's like, take for example, Darion, who's balling all the way the hell out of control, Range Rovering it up. You know what I mean? How do you help? How do you help this guy who's just flipped, made $150,000, $250,000? Now, mind you, standard 9-to-5er, engineer, pharmacist, whatever, jumps into real estate, makes a quick $250,000. Now he's in another tax bracket he's not ready for. Right. Or just he's ready for but didn't know all of the back end of it.
Correct.
How do you help him?
So I work with tax accountants, tax planners, CPAs, and in that we understand. And so basically in me having, again, knowledge is key.
Right.
Having key people and people that you can basically have as a mentor, that's key, especially when you're going into a different ball game. So with that, we would look at, hey, we see that you just did $300,000. I need you to buy another house, but this time I want you to hold it. You still can do everything that you were going to do. I want you to put everything into it like you were going to, but I want you to hold this one. Because when you hold this one, now I can start offsetting some of what you've already done.
Okay.
So if you were flipping that $300,000 that you said, depending on what range of house, meaning price-wise, and what you put into it, all of that, now you're holding it, I can now offset that you just made.
So, you know who's a great company to think about whenever you're using, like buying properties to hold? There's this phenomenal company, L&H Capital, www.lnhcapital.com. They have a great fix and flip product, 75% of ARV, and they do 30-year PITI landlord loans all the way down to 3.75%. www.lnhcapital, Larry Nancy Henry Capital.com, and their rates phenomenal.
I heard.
I can co-sign
no
that.
lies.
I can
no
co-sign
lies.
that.
Oh.
I can definitely co-sign that.
So then let's so I don't while I can spend another 30 minutes talking about what you can offer from a tax perspective, I have to switch gears. So for everyone, of course, like my company is a hard money lender. I'm a hard money lending company, right?
Let's say private. That sounds so.
I'm about to say. I was
and-
about to
And I was
correct
about,
you.
you were about to
Yeah,
correct
that
me.
has
And
such
you know what's
That's
funny?
private.
At the last conference, every fund manager has said we are abandoning
Getting
hard
away from-
money. We are no longer hard money lenders. We are private money lenders
solid private.
because hard money has a negative connotation that does not apply to today's private lending. So as a private money lender, well done. As a private money lender, I focus on new construction, fix and flips, purchase rehabs, and I can do 30-year PITI landlord loans. No income, no banks, no tax returns, no DTI requirements, etc. Teddy, you called me about 4 or 5 months ago and said Tulsa is revitalizing Black Wall Street.
Yep.
And as part of that revitalization effort, Tulsa wanted to bring in Black or minority developers to rebuild Black Wall Street.
Correct.
And you asked me to be one of the private lenders that would fund the development of Black Wall Street.
Correct.
I, with the combination of that developer, was selected to be the actual one of about 4 or 5 collective developers to rebuild Black Wall Street. So shout out to the Tulsa initiative. I've watched the documentaries. Y'all know we just had the 100-year celebration of
Commemoration.
the commemoration of the Tulsa Wall Street Massacre, the Black Wall Street Massacre. Tulsa, and Teddy, you are a pillar in the redevelopment and revitalization efforts of Black Wall Street. How on earth did that happen? How did you become one of the few people that got involved with that and ultimately blessed me with having the opportunity to be a part of that? How did that happen?
So I will first say, Michael Smith is the developer.
Okay.
Native son of Tulsa.
Shout out to Michael Smith.
Yes.
Shout out to
Rock
Michael.
star.
Rock star.
I've spoken to this gentleman multiple times. If there's ever been a rock star, aside from Teddy, it's Mr. Michael Smith.
And one of my associates, Linda Dorman, actually brought it to Opportunity Zone Black Capitalism Fund,
Right.
and basically said, hey, we need to try to raise capital for this project. So initially it wasn't on my radar, so it was brought to me.
Okay.
And we actually looked at the project, and for many developers, especially minority developers, raising capital, equity, and all this kind of stuff, there are issues. Right? There's like straight up, they're just issues. We don't have the same backing or the same deep pockets, lines of credit, however you like, mom, dad, whoever we want to say. We don't have the same bandwidth, so to speak, as others. And so as a result, we were able to restructure to come to the table with Lockett-N-Homes. And as a result, we were able to get this approved, and we are now sitting with this project. So Black Wall Street is known. Tulsa is the most notable. I will say it's not the only one.
Right.
It's the most notable because of the massacre that happened in 1921. So Black Wall Streets were throughout the United States. And with that, it has its own, like shape, its own form, where the dollar was circulating, etc. So with this in the Greenwood District, which is the original Black Wall Street for Tulsa, it is a redevelopment project that did come about through a RFP, or a request for proposal. And with that, Mr. Smith did win that bid, and he submitted his information, and here we are.
So you weren't jockeying for it. It was brought to you.
It was brought to me.
Lockett-N-Homes, L&H Capital, one and the same, was not jockeying for it. When it was brought to us, I went to every fund that backed me, and I said, this, for whether you know about it or don't, this is the most important thing to the Black community, and I need my fund to rally behind it. And once they understood the significance of this, my fund went pedal to the metal to open up our capital, our cap stack to this effort. So I cannot tell you, like me as a minority-owned, like private lender, not only am I infinitely grateful, my fund chairs, managers, account executives, underwriters, everyone is ecstatic to be part of this process. And outside of a handful of us, most of them are not black or brown. But I'll tell you that not only is the minority community rallying behind this, everyone who understands the history of it, the private sector does care about this initiative. So I want to definitely shout out the private lending sector for standing behind this effort. And I don't want to at all marginalize the contribution that our community is doing to this effort, but also everyone that is supporting this effort and putting the money behind this initiative. So I definitely want to shout out all the people behind the scenes that are not in front of the camera that's making this happen.
It's major.
Absolutely.
It's major.
And we don't realize that when one of the things that I have specialized in is the art of community development.
Right.
Through the development process. And that is when you look at your public and private partnerships and you bring them together. Right. And so in that, we have a lot of stuff that we still can do where people want to be like, oh, I just want to buy back the block, right? So we want those type initiatives, but it's a way that you go about it to where you can be strategic and actually get what you want and see the results that you want. Right. And a lot of times from the development stance, we come in wrong to the community. We say, oh, you should have this. And it's like, I've been on both sides of that fence. I've stopped projects from happening and I've helped projects get done because of the understanding of the different dynamics. Like you never go into a project saying we're going to do. You come in with a posture of how can we help?
Right.
Wow.
And what do you want?
Right. And I'm gonna tell you
I love that.
How different that mentality is when you're I've been a lender and regrettably I have been part of gentrification. And I've went in and I've said, they can't afford it. Let's boot them out. Let's bring it in. And as I gotten a better understanding of it, I went from being a primary push of gentrification in certain neighborhoods some years ago into when my firm buys properties, high income, low income, medium income areas, we make them available for low income housing. So of the 60 something houses, couple apartment complexes over the 130 doors, of our 130 something doors, 120 something of them are low income, right? Wow. Because not only do I not want to be part of pushing the community out, I want to give back to keeping lower incomes in transitional and nicer areas. Right. So I cannot stress how important that is to give back. And as that's happening, those low income families turn to medium income and then ultimately become homeowners of the houses they rent from us, 4, 5, 10 years later. Right?
Yeah. Right. And it's one thing to say, a lot of times people look at affordable housing as low income housing. Right. They're not synonymous. They're not synonymous. And there's a difference between affordable, low income, medium. Like there is truly a difference. And you don't have to build crap in order for it to be affordable. Because if you do good commercial grade, because everybody knows when you're doing flips or whatever and you're using commercial grade stuff and you're running it and you have surplus, if you put it in, people respect and people will meet you where you meet them. So if you come to them with BS, they'll probably give you some BS. But if you treat them with the respect that some people are going to be them. Right. But when you treat people with respect, my experience has been that they're going to treat you and have the same regard. Now, like I said, some people are just trifling. Can't get around that.
It's true and will be for years to come.
But the others, they'll meet you where you are.
Right. So earlier you said a couple of things that stood out to me. You said you want to help and to have a posture of not what can be done, but how can I help? So do you offer any mentorship to people that would like to be where you are a couple of years from now?
I actually do. I speak to people like all the time regarding how did I get started? What did I do? I read. Like, that's maybe a dirty word for some people, but I read. And you have to understand the times. You have to understand what's going on in the market, not from a granular sense, but just a general sense. Right now, we know that material costs, they're going up.
Roof.
Right.
One of the things that Lauren said earlier was like, hey, order your materials early. Like, how early do I need them right now? Early. Like, the day you sign a contract, order your materials because there is a backlog. So there are certain things that, you just do have to know. You do have to do. And you have to have people guiding you through that process.
Right.
So, yeah.
So if someone wants to reach out to you for mentorship, how can they get in contact with you?
So if it's the tax side and it's like, hey, I'm making money and I need to know how to structure this, Teddi at GenX, GENEX cap, CAP, like the cap on your head, .com. And if it's in the community development and you're trying to bring things together from the real estate aspect, then that would be Teddi at Joisture, JOISTURE.com. And essentially, like, I play both sides because I love the educational component. I love, floating tide brings everybody in at the same time.
Right.
So,
and one more, because we're going to finish up the plugs, you're not on social media, right?
No.
Okay, but do you have a website or?
So both, GenXCap.com and Joisture.com.
Okay.
So both are actual websites. So GenX is more so you need to find capital for your deal. You need to understand taxes and things like that. How do we mitigate anything or lessen the burden of taxes, etc. That's GenX Cap, GENEX Cap, CAPE. I'm sorry, CAP.com. Excuse me. Cape. Going back. Not the Cape, Cap.
Yeah.
And then Joisture, JOISTURE.com is for community development. How can you bring in the different parties that you need if you're looking to still make money? Because a lot of people think that doing good means that you can't make money.
Right.
You can do both at the same time. You totally can do both at the same time. So Joisture is more so community development, bringing everybody together, public-private partnerships, all that kind of stuff.
Love it.
Love it.
All right.
So then one final question would be, you mentioned that you want to put education out.
Mm-hmm.
Does that mean that you are going to become an educator on myRE360?
Did I just get reeled in? Yes, I think that is totally what that means.
Y'all heard it first.
Yes.
You're going to be the third educator that has sat in this show that has ultimately became an educator on 360.
Really? Okay.
Let me tell y'all something. Come here.
Let me tell you something.
The educational content that we're putting on myRE360 right now is out of this world. If you have not logged on to myRE360 and created an account and started learning, you are losing. Right here. Losing. So do me a favor. Actually, do yourself a favor.
Loser.
Go to myRE360.com, create an account, and go in there and learn something, anything. And as you heard it first, Teddi is going to be recording some education for us. So we can give her a little while, but please do yourself a favor.
We will do no such thing. We will be out to her premises in the next week or two.
Hold on, so we taking a trip? I love you.
You be a
Y'all heard it first. DC is going to DC.
DC.
We'll be filming in Washington DC, y'all.
He be abused.
Look out for your boy.
I don't know, like he be abusing the per diem. Like he's just negligent and abusive with the per diem. So we'll have him on an aggressive cap.
I enjoy culinary experiences.
No,
that's the difference.
You
Write that down.
I like the way, like that was
Write that down.
That was a good way to phrase it. I enjoy culinary experiences.
Excuse me.
I do.
AKA foodie, AKA restaurants, AKA
Somebody see the
First of all,
vision.
false.
Somebody see
You
the
have
vision.
you have a $73 appetizer that is 2 bites big. That is not culinary experience. That is exploitation. And that is abuse. So I'm telling you right now, I am not authorizing
Exploitation and
any
abuse.
more $73
That's okay.
appetizers. And I don't know how you even hustled me to convince me to agree to a single appetizer for $73, let alone an entire $400 meal.
What had happened was.
Did it taste good?
Oh my gosh.
I mean, it
Was
was
it exquisite?
It was
Now,
amazing.
admittedly,
It was
it was fire for the
See?
2 chews that I had for $400.
He asked me, did he want to go out to eat? Well, I asked him, I said, you want to go out to eat
Right.
or you want to have an experience? He said, man, I want to have an experience.
I don't sound like me at all.
Yeah, I got
I'm
you.
more of a-
Shout out to Zuma in Miami, in Las Vegas. I
And
appreciate
Zuma,
you.
if you want to sponsor us, since we spent $400 for 3 chews of 4 appetizers, feel
Fire
free to
chews.
feel free
3
to
chews of 4 appetizers.
feel free to contact us at www.myRE360.com. I would love to have you sponsor us. Consider that for them 4 chews and 3 tablespoons of food that I had.
Oh, my.
It was exceptional. Still hungry, but exceptional nonetheless.
Balance it out for me. Hey, well, I love it. Teddy, you have been wonderful.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
sorry, we're kicking her off?
No, we're not kicking it off, but I thought we would change gears a little bit.
He does that every show.
I do.
So
He
But
does
you know,
like
this
he
a-
does.
this a
It's
new
a
season, so
pre-close.
he
He does a
forgot,
pre-close.
you know.
No, I'm talking
He
about
forgot.
you.
So with that
You
said,
do like a pre-close.
I think this
Amen.
is the perfect time to transition into the. You ever been optically observing real estate,
Optically observing.
rectally renderings your remedies of retirement? You ever been
Break it down.
postulating
Come on.
your long-time paradigm of paradise? Right? You see alliteration is popping. Let me get that. Let me get that. All right?
Paradigm.
But if you've ever been kind of just out and about looking, trying to figure out what your next investment project is, and you ran across something that you're like, well, wait a minute, what in the good fuck is happening? Sometimes you got to ask yourself, like, yo, just why? And now that's the perfect segment for whose man's is this?
Oh my gosh.
Somebody.
The city, quote, I don't give a good fuck what you're building.
A gristle. I feel like them putting this right here, they were trying to say, hey, before you even back out this driveway, you need to know where you're going. Which way you either going to left or right, but you're gonna figure it out before you come out this driveway.
I think this is a.
Nah, this is this is a 2-door garage. I'm a little drunk. What is it?
Garage.
What is it?
Garage.
Hold on. This is a
They call it
2-door
break it down.
garage.
Yes.
With 2-car garage door. Boom. Listen.
But with the pole in the middle, it said it's a split
I think it's
car garage.
for the Mini Cooper in you.
Yes. Headline on the MLS. This house is for the Mini Cooper and you.
Right, for the Mini Cooper.
You know what? I love how the city. You know what happened though? They built this house and the city was like, bro, we told you your easements were off. All right, we'll show you. Homeowner taking the meanest L right now.
They really are.
You know
But
what
did
I'm
they
saying?
get paid for that? You know what I'm saying? That was on my. Did they get paid for that?
I'd be interested to know like what the cleanup was.
But can you imagine just driving down the street and realizing you missed the exit for your home?
Like, but the thing is, the house is there. So when did they do that? Like,
And you know, that's not a wooden telephone
I'ma
pole. That's a
say-
metal one.
I'm gonna say they did that after
They did.
Poe's place.
was
for
somebody
sure.
pranked?
Ashton did it.
Ashton Cooker. I said Cooker. Cooker.
To the city official who said, I don't IDGAF about your home placement because you overstepped your boundaries on the easement. To the homeowner who said, you know what, I know what the city plans say, but I'm going to go ahead and do my thing. I'm going to Mini Cooper it up, split my garage door into a 2 instead of a single. All I need to know is, whose man's is this?
Motorcycles only.
Right?
Mini Cooper Express.
For the Mini Cooper and you.
What is that? What is that?
If I overshot the whole thing was a sink.
Yo,
This
no.
is it.
if shooting your shot and missing was real estate.
So,
This is it.
like,
No Michael Jackson.
So
no words.
So my thing is like I don't know whether the sink is at fault or the faucet. Like I don't know who to blame in this situation.
It
Like
looks like it might be dented.
But either way, to have the confidence to say like, hey, we're done with the bathroom here, and someone comes back and says, hey, you know that the water doesn't fall in the sink, and to be able to say, so?
nah.
You gotta be real
You know what you
confident
need?
about that.
You need a Delta faucet. You know you
Was this a PSI issue?
Right? I
But-
think
Was
but-
it a water pressure issue?
I don't know.
Like,
I mean,
no,
look at the angle of the pipe. I feel like
That's why I
they
said, was this dented?
just didn't care.
Nah, this wasn't like this is what happens when you slap a bathroom in an industrial warehouse, and you have a residential plumber doing commercial work. This is what happens when you disconnect. So I say for the residential plumber who is trying to upgrade into natural progression into commercial
Natural
plumbing, trying to get up his game, bro. Like your measurements are off. That's all I'm gonna say. Like you got to do better.
I think they was just tired. They was tired. They didn't care.
To the residential plumber who tried to naturally progress his way up to commercial because he thought the bucks were bigger in the warehouse, but then overshot the PSI requirement by easily 100%.
I only need 80.
To the warehouse occupant who is going to mop up the floor every time you want to wash your hands and you choose between janitorial services or cleanliness, all I need to know is whose man's is this?
It's sanitizing in anyway.
They say that's the cleanest floor. That's the drop to nowhere.
Who did? If send my kids to hell was a slide, I don't want them no more.
Yo, so this
Oh,
is for
wow.
me petitioning the government for an abortion of a 9-year-old.
Right.
This is for every parent who basically was caught up in COVID and had to teach their child. They was like, we got to drop. We got
This is the
this a little
modern.
bit much.
Right?
A little bit much.
This brings another meaning to I'm going to drop you off. I'm going to drop you off real quick. Go get on that slide for me, baby.
I just
Call me when you get there.
Like, but where does it go though? Like,
Who
Are we
knows?
there yet? Like,
Who knows? To the Willy Wonka factory, maybe.
you got your golden ticket?
Right? Go get on this slide.
to the parent that wanted to live out their childhood fantasy with the golden ticket, Willy Wonka style, sliding into the chocolate factory. To the kid that's going to slide down, the kid that's taking a slide to the plunge of death. All I need to know is, whose man's is this?
Slide and hop.
Right.
I'm not going to front like,
That was
you ever
wild.
get to the point where you get tired of your kids and be like, I can see it.
Yeah. Go get on this slide for me.
Oh, wait. T-Money? Well, neither one of us have.
She got a good kid. He been chill. He just been doing his own thing.
See, right now, she's seen this. She was like, yeah, there's a time or two where she would have took him on that ride.
Put him on a purple slide.
Listen, she's like, you keep acting up, bro. I'm taking you to the purple slide.
To the purple
like,
slide.
I don't want to go to the purple slide.
Last time I broke my leg.
Purple slide of doom.
Wait a minute. Child abuse is not. Listen.
You're right. We do not
We
condone.
do not
that.
condone.
We do not condone child abuse at all.
However, strong.
However, if
discipline
you
is-
need to drop them motherfuckers in a dungeon for a day or two while you go party in Vegas or have a date night out, like,
Hit the purple slide.
But I condone
did it, not us.
discipline.
all right.
So,
I
this was
would be
good.
interested to know where that went. Like, Ryan, can you look into that and see where that
But I need to
slide
know.
of doom
But
went?
I need to know where was that house located with the pole? Like, where was that located? Like, I want to know the city, state.
Probably Florida. It's real different down there. And I can say that I used to live in Florida. It's real different down there. I lived in Orlando and Tampa. Especially Orlando, I saw some real different stuff. So I'm gonna say Orlando. Yeah, for 300.
Alex.
What is Orlando for 300?
But so, like, again, Teddy, we could spend another 2 hours just talking about how dope your accolades are, what you've done, you know, for the business, and now what you've done for the community as a whole. Like, I don't at all want to marginalize your contribution to Black America, to Black Wall Street, to the minority effort. And again, shout out to everyone that is an advocate for Buy the Block, that is making housing affordable all over the country, from Texas to the East Coast to the West Coast and everything in between. Like, I don't want anyone to be overlooked. However big or small your contribution is, it is appreciated by those local and afar. But Teddy, you are just a rock star, and I cannot tell you, like, just hearing your story and me being able to be a part of it is just humbling in the purest form of the word. So, you know, definitely we tip my hat to you, bow down to what is G Code, and we appreciate you taking the time to join us.
I appreciate you guys.
Right, and of course, Darian, I appreciate your lavender, almost pink, not real pink. So the masculinity of wearing a pink coat isn't really there, but it kind of is because it's hinting at pink. Still appreciate the
let
effort.
me tell you something. The clothes don't make the man. The man makes the clothes.
Facts.
You feel me? I made this blazer look fly. I made these Gucci loafers look fly. Why? Because I am that guy. Ooh. That's a bonus for y'all tonight. A little poem. That's a little bonus for y'all tonight. But you go ahead and close up, though. You go ahead and close up. We waiting on you.
I thought that was a little shade. I see the meter.
He tried it, but you see how I flipped it. See,
brought it.
Tabitha, y'all follow Tabitha, I think Brown on Instagram.
We don't, but if Tabitha, if you want to sponsor the show, feel free to holler at us.
Tabitha, I hit him with the clean read that was inspired by you. I flipped that negativity into positivity. Oh, drop the
Lemons
jams
into
for me.
lemonade.
Oh, come on. You see the vision. You see the
That's
vision.
what I heard.
See, he's stuck. He's stuck. All that positivity that just came his way. He's stuck. But as you were saying,
I was on my way to complimenting you, but you're so insecure.
Bring that
you
back.
was throwing shade. You was throwing shade.
You know what?
But
You
cool.
was so.
If I look fly, just say that.
Yeah,
say that.
I was on my way to throwing you a compliment, but immediately you took to defense because your masculinity was challenged. At least
on the way to. Wearing a pink blazer. Really?
wait, how'd I say it? How'd I say it?
Wearing a pink blazer. that really ain't pink.
So, on my way to complimenting Mr. Mr. I'm flyer than you on Wednesday, even after your Friday night haircut, Darian Coleman.
It was
I was
Thursday,
on my
but
way, but then he got in his feelings, so I had to one me up multiple times over. So now your shape up compliment retracted. The compliment of your lavender, almost pink but not really pink coat retracted.
He reclaiming his time.
I'm
reclaiming my compliment. I'm reclaiming my compliment.
Yeah.
Now you're just the co-host Darian. So he's no longer flyer than you on Friday evenings just because of the insecurity. So we'll see what happens next week when you join us on myRE360TV. Teddy, we appreciate you joining us.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Freaking
I
rock star.
appreciate
All
it.
the way.
I appreciate it.
All right,
Thank you,
and
guys.
we'll see y'all next time.
Absolutely.